Let's just go simple here. Hey guys, Dad out here in my garage. Might as well get some work done on the Softail. See, I've gone through and cleaned up everything. I cleaned up all the rest of the intake and all, got all that back in. Chrome cleaned up nicely. I'm happy about that. So now I'm doing bars and the risers. I'm also going to go ahead and revamp the controls because these are pretty faded. So I decided on the LA Choppers 12-inch bars. I'm going to internally wire these because I really like the clean look of that. So to help support that, first step I'm going to do is I've got the spare old set of controls here with some extra wire. I'm going to actually transplant all these black buttons into these spare set of chrome housings I have. So I'm going to get to work on that. Empty black housings, chrome housings with black buttons. This was pretty straightforward. Make sure not to mess up the hardware. Those obviously are not the same thread pitch. Now on this one, on the right side, the turn signal was a little stuck. I had to bend this corner piece up just a hair to give it a little bit more depth so that it wouldn't grab on there. But yeah, so now I've got chrome housings and black controls. So next will be figuring out how long I need my wiring to be and extending all of this. Alright, so I'm looking at the old controls here, and what I'm thinking is the base of my bars are going to sit in the same spot. They're going to come down in the middle of the bars. So I'm thinking I'll give myself a little extra. I want enough room to be able to solder. So I'm thinking I maybe cut these somewhere around here. I can move these back a hair. I can cut these the sheaths back just a little bit. And then what I'll need is enough cable for these to come out and of course be able to be installed. So I'm thinking about that long total. So I've got this obviously fed through just heavy duty fishing wire with a lead weight. So I'm thinking it needs to be about that long. I'd rather have it too long than too short. I can always trim it up once I actually feed it through and then go to solder this up. I figure I can always trim excess at that point. Yeah, so I'm going to go about, thinking about yay long. Alright, I'll pull this back out, get my measurement. I'm not going to try to do this while holding the camera, but I'll be able to measure that out and go, that's how long I want my wires to be. And then I'll make sure all the wires coming off the controllers are that long. And I will solder them in right over here. Alright, so I've got everything prepared here to start pulling this through. I've got my fishing line, obviously feed it up from the top. Now one thing I like to do is I'll take some electrical tape and I'll run through here. I want to try not to have anything that'll catch, so I'm gonna tie that down a little better. I've got my fishing line tied to all the wires together, just in a standard knot down here. Obviously I've got my protective sheath on here, just rubber sheath. The next thing I'm going to do, after I tape that down, is I'll just throw some dry lube in here. I'm going to spray this down with a little dry lube to help it slide easier. And then, yeah, it's just a matter of just gently fishing it through. Push in from the top while you're pulling down from the bottom. All right, there we go. Fed them down through. Wiring will just end. My wires actually end somewhere down in this area, so I should have enough here. I can extend these a little further if I need to, but I think I'll just keep some extra on there and just solder these up very close. And yeah. All right, one down. Now I gotta make some extended wires on the other side and get those all in. All right, so I cut out 28 inches of wire. Unfortunately, I only have a 16 gauge, so this is going to be a tad overkill, but that's okay. Black for black. Well, red and blue makes purple, so there you go. Then I've got yellow, red for the red and white, brown, dark blue, but then I'm going to use gray here for the light blue. So next step is actually just to clean these up and solder everything together. I'll get that done now. All right, so I've got my wiring all set up. Got the sheath on. Now we go ahead and pull it back through. I gotta find out what this hole is in the back of the left side. I don't know what the heck that's for. I don't have... I say that, but I'm not 100% sure. So, do I have a hole in the back of one of these? Nothing there. No, I don't. I do not have a hole. See, I don't know what that's for. Cool. But for now, let's go ahead and get you over over here, and let's get this one run. All right, I'm not doing this while holding the camera. All right, next update. So I got all these guys ran. I clipped the ends, left myself plenty to be able to reuse these. I'm thinking what I'm gonna do, since I got more than enough here to be able to tuck everything back behind underneath here, I'm gonna go ahead and put bullets on all these. Plus it'll make it easier when I go to match up all the wiring. I can just bullet connect in, connect, and connect, and connect, and connect. So I'm gonna put, I think, females on this end. So basically these wires will end up pointing straight down, so I want to make sure water doesn't run down into them, because I am not a fair weather rider. So I'd like to make sure, as best as I can, that everything matches up. So I'll make sure the long ends of my little protective sleeves are on here, so they run down and around any water that drips down. Yeah, so we get to work on that. All right, I've got the left side here done, wired up. One slight difference here, though, is that Harley shares the orange and white across 2 power cords, whereas these are set up separately, so I had to put a little Y in there. I'm debating if I want to do that on the other side or just wire those 2 together. I think I'll just wire them together. I couldn't really do it because I ran 16 gauge cable here, whereas these are 18 gauge, and I think I can combine the 2 wires, twist them together, and then hook them into one connector. So I think I'll do that. But yeah, for now, lunchtime. Progress is made. So I went 3" over on the cables, and it looks like that's exactly the right size with these 12" LA choppers. See, I've got the chrome all set up. Obviously, I'm going to do another cleanup on there. Still got to mount up more here. And I was testing the electrical. Everything works except my low beam. So, going to do a little bit more work on that, get the low beam straightened out, and then I think I'm ready to get the tank in. Currently residing up there. It's all empty. And get the tank in. I've got some Kuryakin goodies over here to put in with it. I've got the Informer fuel battery gauge and the matching vented flush mount cap. I'll get those on. Then I'll be able to get the dash on. Got the JMP chrome bottom for that. I have not managed to put my boss blades on just yet. Honestly, the blades that came with this kit are not bad. The levers, I should say. But they're not the boss blades. And, you know, I bought the boss blades for a reason. I want those. So yeah, let me find out what's going on with my light down here and then get this all straightened out. All right, so we're at day, I don't even know, on this project. It's the weekend. I'm getting out here to get some more work done. I wanted to get a quick update here. So I've got the mirrors on. I'm going to replace these, though. They're not perfect condition. I've got the controls in. I've got the bar on. LA Chopper's 12" bar. I've got all kinds of new chrome showing up. I've still got to get installed. I've got to order. There's a special tool you need to take the bolt in here out around there. It's a 9/16 socket. Evidently it's got a slot in it. So I ordered a set of flare nut sockets. I'm going to go ahead and get the mount switched out right now. I've got my new plug wires. I'm getting an excuse to clean this up. I've got the new isolator here that's going to go in. I've got a new horn cover that's going in. So I figure I can take a few moments and clean up some of this area. So I'll get to work on that now. Tank. So it's just sitting on there. It's not actually bolted down. Still got to get spark plugs go in, but I got the chrome motor mount and all installed. I don't know how well y'all be able to see that up in there. Horn covers in. I've obviously got a lot more cleaning to do on the bottom side though. Work continues.